exactly the average age span. I mean, that's not young, but
No.
that's not old either. I mean, we do see. Now, do you know who is? Maybe I don't have that in front of me, but who is the the oldest professional wrestler that's still? No, maybe not wrestling, but that'd be an interesting stat to have. But the oldest that's survived,
Um,
that's still here, that's or lived to be 80s, 90s.
there's not many. I mean, honestly, there's not many that made it to that point. I know right now, I believe Dominic DeNucci, the guy that trained Mick Foley, still alive. He's 88.
Okay, well that's a little bit more, a little bit higher up than 70. I guess basic math would tell me that.
I mean, there's just no way to tell, honestly.
Yeah, I mean it's complications, and then a lot of the older people. I mean, especially with, we're not going to say the name, but basically with all of these concussions and stuff.
Oh yeah.
That a lot of those people, like headbutts and a lot of that stuff, wears and tears on you too. I mean, this is a very demanding physical sport.
That it definitely is.
And they didn't have the safety protocols that they have now, and they didn't work as safe as they could have.
No. Now back in the 80s, early 90s, before the Attitude Era, you didn't have
a lot of big bumps.
Right. You didn't have the dangers that, you didn't have the chair shots to the head, stuff that they've gotten rid of recently, thank God. But you didn't have that back then. So, it's a little better now than it was in the late 90s, but it was generally safer in the 80s. That's why people like, Demolition and stuff like that who try to sue, Vince for concussions and stuff, they'd never wrestled a dangerous style. So I don't really see how you can blame Vince for that. Even guys that never worked for Vince that try to sue Vince over, it doesn't make sense.
How does that even? Yeah,
it's people trying to make an easy dollar. People that work, one match for Vince and they want to sue for a concussion, or even guys that worked for Vince for a long time, but then spend the next 10, 15 years working other places. How can you say, oh, WWF is the reason why I have these concussions? You can't. It's a money grab.
Yeah, they got the most money. That's, I guess, the easiest target.
It's nothing more than a money grab. So, what can you do outside of that? And sadly, Kamala is kind of one of those people that, I think Kamala was part of that lawsuit, because when you get hard up for money, you do, what you can, I guess, to make money, sadly. And he attempted that. He wrote a book. Kamala Speaks is available on Amazon and online. Buy his book, read his life story.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I mean, I wasn't aware that he had a book. I know a lot of professional wrestlers come out with books.
Oh yeah.
While they're still active or when they're done.
Yeah, and I mean, pick that up at some point. But I'm interested in what he has to say. I don't know if what a lot he said was true.
When was this published? Was it
just a few years ago? It wasn't that long ago.
Before the legs or after the legs?
I want to say it was after the legs. It was co-written with a good friend of mine, Kenny Casanova, was his co-writer for it. And I believe it was after he lost his legs that he wrote the book, which, I mean, that's a story in itself. I mean, he lost one leg and then he lost the other one a little while after that. So, I mean, obviously that's sad. So, I mean, yeah, it's good. I think it'll be a good read. It's just with books like that, when someone that's shown kind of they're bitter towards the business for whatever reason, like Kamala has with some of his interviews and some of his comments and even some of his songs that he's put out, it's kind of hard when you read that book to kind of, what's fact and what's fiction. What was.
It's always he said, she said, right? Like I said, if WWE or any of these promotions, talked for all the allegations, they wouldn't have anything else to say. I mean,
pretty much. So I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt, I guess. And what we got to take now is a commercial break. So we will be back, and we're going to cover what happened on Monday Night Raw when we return. So someone said they couldn't hear the mics. I'm like, fuck, I'm trying to figure it out. I didn't have it turned on. So I stopped that stream where we had a couple viewers and started this one where we now have.
Yeah. Well, while we're on a commercial break, let me find out.
All right, we're currently on a commercial break right now here in the studio. when we come back from this commercial break, we're going to talk about Raw. We're actually about to come back here in a few seconds right after this commercial. We talk about Raw this past week. We got all our technical difficulties out the way with YouTube. Technical difficulty being me not turning on the mic.
I'm just walking down the aisle with you, man, having a good time. I'm Charlotte's dad and wanted to be part of Randy Orton's life. I've been there, man. I ain't Ric Flair, well, you're right. But I'm a big fan of you. And you're the guy to break my record. That's all I want.
All right, and welcome back to the shooting range. I am your host, the old school thriller, Jay Miller, and with me, as always, is All Elite Alan Henney.
Yep, that's me.
That would be you. What edition of Raw we had this past week?
Was it?
Ric Flair, man. Ric Flair gave. I almost cried during Flair's
I can only
promo.
imagine. I can only imagine he was.
I'm a little bit of a Ric Flair fan, just a tiny bit of just a tad bit of a Ric Flair fan. He's only the greatest of all time. But man, what a promo by Flair. Anytime someone brings up Ric Flair's son, for those that don't know, Ric Flair's son, Reed, was starting his career in wrestling, was actually doing pretty good, was going over to Japan. He passed away of a heroin overdose.
Yeah.
So anytime Ric Flair's son is kind of brought up in a promo, it hits me kind of deep, just because I know the pain. I've had family members succumb to the same death. So it kind of hits me hard anytime Flair's son's brought up, and the way Randy Orton did it. Which I like the way he did it, because he didn't mention Reed by name. He just mentioned Flair's sons. But it definitely it definitely hit a spot. It definitely it hit that spot with which Randy was trying to hit. And Rick cries over the wind blowing. So yeah. I mean, really no surprise to see Ric Flair cry during the promo. But it was an amazing promo by Flair. Flair can always get you. Flair can always hit those feelings in the fans, which is a reason Flair was always so successful. Because Flair could get those feelings out of you, whether it be hate, whether it be sympathy, anger, whatever emotion Flair wanted you to feel, Flair would make you feel. Great promo, great segment by Flair and Orton. Obviously, they want to take Flair off of TV, I'm assuming because of the COVID.
Yeah, so what was
situation.
Going on with that? That's his wife was diagnosed?
His wife she had COVID.
Okay.
And of course, Flair is at high risk because of medical problems he's had in the past. And all that, so he shouldn't be traveling right now.
Yeah,
he's at a high rate. He should not be traveling right now. And I made the same argument when Jerry Lawler was still doing commentary during the pandemic. Certain people should not be traveling. Flair should stay at home. That's all Flair needs to do, is just stay at home. He don't need to do anything else. He's Ric Flair. He's charging $600 for
a cameo.
A cameo.
Yeah, I know.
So,
if only I had to spare $600.
I'm saving up for it, man, just to hear him say my name. But yeah, so I mean, I'm glad they're taking Flair off TV. Maybe Flair will appear at SummerSlam still. Maybe Flair maybe he'll get involved.
He's been making quite a few appearances lately.
He's been doing the thing with Randy Orton. I think they wanted to get him off TV for good, and that's why what happened Monday happened. Because obviously Randy Orton can stand on his own. Randy Orton doesn't need a mouthpiece. Randy Orton doesn't need a manager. Randy Orton can get himself over. So Flair being out there, really, the only thing that it accomplished by Flair being out there is what we saw on Monday, where it gave fans even more of a reason to hate Randy Orton because he attacked Ric Flair, the greatest of all time. So we have that. I would hope that we don't see Flair at SummerSlam. We could see Flair at SummerSlam still. Who knows? But
It'll-
I'm
they
hoping
can-
we don't.
Yeah, well, I think they could still run something with Flair, maybe not being there, more technology.
Here's my thing, though. If Flair gets involved in any way at SummerSlam, what's the payoff? Flair can't wrestle. WWE's not going to let Flair wrestle.
Oh yeah.
So
he's-
Flair getting involved in screwing Randy Orton, there's no payoff. It's not going to build to a match, Ric Flair versus Randy Orton. So there's really no point in using Ric Flair in this storyline anymore.
Could he back somebody else up?
Even then, I mean, the payoff, you always want to see the payoff being, the person that was wronged initially to get their comeuppance. When it's someone that can't wrestle, it doesn't have the same effect as if, Randy Orton. Now, if Randy Orton did that to Shawn Michaels, and we know Shawn Michaels can still probably go. He could still probably do a decent match. He retired because he wanted to, not because he had to. And he hasn't had the medical problems.
Yeah.
So that would make sense in a Shawn Michaels situation because you could do a Randy Orton Shawn Michaels match and you get that ultimate payoff. You can't do a Randy Orton Ric Flair match. So even if Ric Flair backs someone, you're not getting that payoff of
Because
Randy
it's not-
Orton Ric Flair.
Yeah, because it's not Rick.
Right.
No matter who it is, it's not Rick.
So I mean, that kind of muddies the waters a little bit on what you can really do, and I think it's why they don't need to have Ric Flair come back at SummerSlam to be involved. I think they just, Ric Flair got his kind of his send off. He's involved in one more big angle on his way out, and I don't think they really need Ric Flair anymore. So let's talk about what else happened on Raw this past week. We opened up with Dominic Guerrero.
getting
Dominic Guerrero.
getting destroyed with some.
Yes.
with some
Did you
canes.
see the pictures afterwards?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was horrific, man.
He paid his dues on Raw.
He got
that's for
jumped
sure.
in for sure.
He did. But Dominic Mysterio.
You're not going to be able to break that, are you?
No, it's Eddie. We found out that Eddie was his poppy years ago. And you are not breaking kayfabe with me, WWE. I don't care how you try to. He is Eddie Guerrero's son and will always be Eddie Guerrero's son in my eyes, even if Rey Mysterio won the ladder match. He's got Guerrero DNA. SA. So we start out the show with Samoa Joe doing the contract signing between Dominic and Seth Rollins. Dominic not only signed his WWE contract, but he signed the contract to face Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. And then we saw a vicious attack by Seth Rollins on Dominic. I mean, he destroyed him with those kendo sticks. And anyone that has not seen the pictures of Dominic after,
Did WWE post that?
I'm
Or,
not
like,
sure.
Did a second outlet? I think another outlet. might have
I
shared.
think
Well, they must have. Obviously,
I think WWE
yeah.
posted it on their Twitter. I'm not sure if they posted it on their website, but I do believe WWE is the ones that put the pictures out. But oh my, it was
Yeah.
nasty looking.
It
It
looked
was
like
nasty.
somebody got some F's on their report card, came home. Yeah.
Now, if that was your son, if you were Rey Mysterio, because Eddie Guerrero sadly is no longer with us, so Rey Mysterio has had to step up to that father's role, I guess. If you were Rey Mysterio, and I mean, you saw someone do that to your son, we all know, okay, it's scripted. We all know it's entertainment. But he
He took a lashing. He took a lashing. He carved him up. It was
Yes.
it was hard to look at.
If you were
know?
Rey Mysterio, though, like, how would you feel about that? Would you have animosity towards Seth Rollins?
I
Like, legit?
definitely. Well, yeah, legit. You think he's sitting there like, I know it was supposed to be to build up this heat and build this stuff up, but he didn't have to go that hard.
Right.
That's
Like,
what you're saying. 'Cause
did he have to go that
was
far?
Ruthless.
Not that I like talking about Ric Flair all the time, but I'm going to bring up Ric Flair
of
one more
course.
time. Years ago in WCW, Ric Flair, got his son David involved, and there was a segment where Hogan was beating David Flair with his workout belt, And Ric Flair legitimately got mad about it. Like Ric Flair was really mad about it because he said he thinks Hogan went too far with it. And is that what this situation was?
It could be. That could be. But Mysterio probably didn't realize how bad it was because he's not only got one eye now.
That is true. He only has one. It's not his real son anyway, so he probably, he's like,
What is his background? Obviously not Rey Mysterio. We know Rey Mysterio's got a crazy background.
Rey Mysterio. You want to know Rey Mysterio's background?
What is his background? Is he just kind of been like training, does he have a lot of prior history, or
he doesn't have a lot of experience? But I know he was trained last year with Lance Storm at Lance Storm School in Canada. So he definitely has one of the best trainers you could possibly have because it don't get much better than Lance Storm.
No.
So he definitely, I think it'll be interesting at SummerSlam to see if Dominic can pull his own weight.
I think he should be able to. I think they're going to do a lot of spots.
Was it this week or last week that he hit the 619? I think it may have been last week.
I think it was last week, yeah.
That he hit the 619, which kind of surprised me. I mean, he's not as small as his dad, obviously.
Yeah.
But he can move. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens with that and how the match goes. Of course, that led into Seth Rollins versus Humberto Carrillo. With Seth Rollins, of course, won that match. After the match, they attacked Mysterio. That's kind of when they destroyed him.
That went on for a little while too.
That was. They
had them all tied up.
Yeah,
tied up in the ropes.
It was hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie. At certain parts, it got to the point where it was hard to watch, just because of. I mean, it was. That was some ECW era.
Yeah.
Type violence right there. After that, they showed a video package for Retribution. So it's kind of interesting, see what they did on SmackDown, where they carved up the ropes, where they just destroyed everything. They beat up some fans. So that was interesting. We came back. We had Andrade versus Angelo Dawkins. Of course, Angelo Dawkins' partner wasn't there because of the poisoning from last week. And Angelo Dawkins picked up the victory there. And we went straight into Selena Vega versus Bianca Belair. As everyone, I think, knows at this point, Bianca is married to Angelo Dawkins' partner. So she has, of course, every reason in the world to be fighting Selena Vega. And it's kind of funny because they actually did a thing on Instagram Live with Bianca attacking Selena in their home. So, of course, Montez Ford was not there selling the poisoning. Bianca picked up the win for Montez Ford. She did it for her boo.
Oh,
did it for her boo. Would you? I mean, if you had a girlfriend, would you want her defending your honor like that if you got poisoned?
Yeah, of course. Somebody poisoned me. I'd be like, go on, babe, go on.
Go find the person that did this and take care of business. So after that, we had Apollo Crews. We did a look back at him retaining the United States title. And then they let us know there's going to be a very special VIP lounge tonight with
the Hurt Business.
The Hurt Business, the best thing Raw has going right now.
Yeah.
The Hurt Business. We have, the VIP lounge with the Hurt Business. Apollo Crews comes out with his United States title that was paid for by MVP. And he made sure to remind MVP that he appreciates the money that was dropped on that belt as he wears it around. That led into Apollo Crews Hurt Business, and we actually had Shelton Benjamin win.
Was that a roll up?
I believe it was a roll up. He took advantage of the distraction.
Yeah.
And we had Shelton Benjamin actually winning a match on Raw. That doesn't happen too often. I think Christmas comes more often than Shelton Benjamin wins matches on Raw. So that was good to see. Of course, they do a beatdown afterwards. And this sets up for, of course, a match at SummerSlam. featuring the Hurt Business and Apollo Crews for that. Bobby Lashley versus Apollo, maybe MVP versus Apollo. I know
Is it
one of
that
them.
thing like was it the Freebirds rule when the New Day could use any of the three people?
It may be like that. I think that'd be kind of cool to see a singles title defended like that. We've seen tag titles defended under the Freebird rule. We've never really seen a single title defended that way.
That would be something that would catch some people's eyes. I would be interested in that.
Definitely. After that, we had the Viking Raiders, Ricochet, and Cedric Alexander taking on Akira Tozawa and his ninjas. Why this man still has ninjas,
his
I'll
ninjas,
never know.
and that's a swerve.
Swerve. Oh, yeah. Look at you. You're trying to get ahead of me here.
I know I am. I'm sorry.
And we, of course, we had victory by Cedric Alexander. He was able to pick up the win there. And then after that, Akira lost his 24/7 title as Ron Killings was one of the ninjas. And he picked up the victory there with a roll-up on the stage. And Ron Killings, I think that's his 38th time winning the 24/7 I-97, whatever else he calls it. He has about 20 names for it.
Did you see that coming?
I kind of did. When he started backing up and they kept the camera on him and I could see the ninja behind him had a darker skin complexion, I kind of had a feeling it was R-Truth, and then we saw what happened with that. After that, we had Peyton Royce versus Liv Morgan. Peyton Royce picked up the victory there. Kind of more hijinks between the Iconics and Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, the Riott Squad. Come back. We go to commercial. We come back. Shane McMahon is hyping up another week of Raw Underground. We started off with Cal Bloom and Riddick Moss. Riddick Moss looked really good in this. I mean, he took care of business. And it's funny, we talk about Raw Underground. Ken Shamrock has recently said that he would like to help WWE with this Raw Underground and making it look realistic. As a lot of people know, Ken Shamrock was an amazing fighter in UFC back in the day. So I think Ken Shamrock, he's successful in MMA and wrestling. I think Ken Shamrock could add a lot to this Raw Underground.
It would be very interesting to see what he could bring.
And it could happen. Maybe WWE will reach out to Ken Shamrock and maybe he'll be back involved there. After that, we had Asuka versus Becky. If Asuka wins, she is the number one contender for Becky Lynch's. She took on Bayley. And if she won, she would have number one contendership for the women's title against Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. Of course, Asuka picked up the win. It's going to be Asuka versus not Becky Lynch.
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks. What am I doing?
Yeah.
It's the two belts. I was thinking Becky, Becky two belts. But it's actually Banks. I don't know what Banks Deuce belts or something like that.
Yeah.
So after that, of course, they hit the ring, attack Asuka. We go back to another Raw Underground segment. We have more of this, fake MMA stuff. They got rid of the strippers this week.
Oh, well,
There's no
I'm sure
underground
that
strippers.
didn't go over well with a lot of people.
I think a lot of people just didn't even notice it because they didn't care.
Yeah. That was their potty break.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe it's because they couldn't afford the COVID test for the so they just let it go. But yeah, so we had more Raw Underground stuff. And then we see more of Retribution as they have overturned a car. They're attacking the car.
They all sounded really excited to be tearing stuff up, though.
They did. They sounded very excited.
Hollering.
They were happy to be causing destruction. Then we had Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens in our main event. This was an amazing match. I enjoyed this match so much.
I've always been a big fan of KO.
I can tell that's your twin. You got to support family pride, man. So yeah, we had Randy Orton picked up the win over Kevin. It was a nice back and forth.
Yeah, he went for the stunner, got flipped around to an RKO. Bang.
Right.
That's it.
Very good back and forth match. I thought it was very good. Kevin Owens, I mean, a lot of people talk about his looks. A lot of people talk about, a lot of other stuff about him. But I mean, when it comes down to being in the ring, Kevin Owens is a superstar.
Yeah. He really, really lives up to the prize fighter gimmick, really. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he's never really put on a bad match that I've seen. Maybe he said that's
I mean, I've been following Kevin Owens since
Steen days, his Steen days.
Yeah, Reign of Honor. I've been following him since Reign of Honor. I've always been a big fan of him. Mostly, I mean, I started off a big fan because he's a great talker. Then that's my thing. If you can talk great, you have my attention. And then hopefully you can deliver in the ring, which Kevin Owens definitely does and always had.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have not seen Kevin Owens' stuff in Reign of Honor when he was Kevin Steen, or even some of his independent stuff, I mean, I urge you to go on YouTube and check it out because, I mean, he's had some amazing moments and great matches. His stuff with El Generico, Sami Zayn, amazing stuff on the Indies. I would recommend checking out their ladder match from Final Battle.
That was
2000, I want to say 13. I mean, it's just an amazing match. It may have been 2012. But I mean, that was just amazing. And then after that, of course, that led into the Randy Orton Ric Flair promo that we played for you earlier and that we already kind of discussed. With Drew McIntyre coming out to kind of make
ran
the
out
save after that.
Yeah, he was not thrilled, man. Well, I guess it was a save, but damage was done at that point. But
how convenient was it that the lights went out right
when
right when Flair got punted?
Yeah. Well, he got well, I wouldn't have wanted to. I mean, I would not have wanted to see that.
Who would?
Yeah, I don't think there's a soul in the world. No. It's Drew ran out and that he exchanged. He was in
not
disbelief.
happy.
He was not happy. So couldn't believe that he just did that. Really?
Angry.
Even him? Whatever. I don't remember exact words. Very angry. Even Rick? Come on, man.
So we add Ric Flair to the list. I mean, Edge, Christian, Big Show, and now Ric Flair. Do we see Orton maybe this coming Monday, the last week before SummerSlam? Do we see him take out another legend before the Big Show?
Who's? I mean, do you have somebody in mind that?
I mean, I don't.
Target.
I don't. I can't really think.
Have they been promoting any? Have they promoted anybody coming up because this next week is the go home?
Yeah. Next week is the go home for Raw.
So I wonder if they're gonna start promoting. We'll see how they set that up. I don't say that couldn't happen. It could happen. This was pretty climatic, though. I don't know. I mean, him going after Ric Flair, I think that seals the deal. That's the ultimate. That's the ultimate kick in the face, kick to the head.
Now, let me just throw this scenario at you. Obviously, Shawn Michaels works for NXT. So Shawn Michaels is in Orlando. Do we have Shawn Michaels kind of come out to confront, Orton about what he did to Flair, and then maybe Shawn Michaels gets punted?
Now, what about Triple H? What's the deal? Is he's in like Stanford, right, or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, he wanted to wrestle Batista for Batista touching Ric Flair. So wouldn't it make sense for Triple H to come out?
But I don't think people really want to. People want to see that match again.
No one does.
Not
but I mean, just from an aspect of taking out a legend, I think Shawn Michaels would make the most sense.
Yeah.
Or maybe even because with Drew McIntyre, maybe have Finlay come. Finlay works as a road agent. Maybe have Finlay come out there to say, and Finlay get attacked. And not only do you kill another legend, but now Drew has even more reason to be mad because Finlay is one of his natives. Finlay's kind of the one that, vouched for him. Like, hey, he's another Irishman. We could do big things with them. So could Finlay be the person that maybe – I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Make Finlay the next legend. And it would make sense in the concept of the storyline.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's possibilities. I think, for add that extra, just have one more person come in there to get killed by the legend killer. But we are going to kill this feed for a few minutes as we take a commercial break, and we'll be right back here with more Shooting Range on allsportscleveland.com.
Nobody's listening. I'm just gonna cut it off quickly. Well,
Speakers out there. The people that matter most.
that's a get fired immediately type deal.
Right.
It's okay.
Believe me, I need a new board operator.
Yeah, I cut you off. Don't
Cut
worry.
me off. Because I couldn't think of the website anyway.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. Only YouTube's tuned in.
So turn off. Hear these commercials. Yeah. And we discussed already what we're going to do next segment. Have a nice day. Wave, one-armed Rick McFoley, wave.
Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
Woo, woo. Push it and pull it. Push it and pull it. Even the Ric Flair figure's going bald.
Dad O'Clock. We got some interesting commercials going on here. I guess I'll run. Oh,
Which one are you running?
the opioid one, apparently. I don't even know.
Yes! 'Cause you got to be high to listen to this show. And we got a minute left, so. And then you got to do the station ID, and then our 50, whatever that's labeled as. I'm going to do the rest. I'm going to have Ric Flair do the rest of the show.
That's fine.
Woo! Let's talk about Impact. Woo! What did you think of our Wrestle House? Woo! It made me want to retire all over again. Woo! What do you have, the 11 Pro?
Yeah.
You can make money.
What is this? Is this the return? This is the best in the world thing, right? I hope.
That's the world.
Our go back in the 50 years.
Yeah.
It's that second thing on the sound effects board.
Let's hope.
I wonder.
Don't forget to play station ID. It's 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. Let me find
You're
this.
late.
I'm not. Well,
Just got fined by the FCC, probably millions of dollars, because you're not prepared.
Student loans are going to be off the roof now.
High school football lives here on allsportscleveland.com.
Except
Talk of the Land, Valley View, Cleveland.
Talk of the land. Ah, you got it. I was hoping that was it because I wasn't sure.
yeah, he programmed that. I'm going to cue you in a little early.
And welcome back to the shooting range. I am your host, the old school thriller, Jay Miller, and along beside me, as always, is the lovable, huggable, laughable Alan Penny, all elite.
Yep, that's me.
That's me. So it's that part of the week again.
Your favorite part of the week.
Impact Wrestling time. Maybe listen to the show though, because this week they had more than 2 matches, but they also had that Wrestle House. I don't even know what to call it. It's not wrestling. Wrestle House is not wrestling. It's a corny attempt at a bad reality show.
Is it a blatant ripoff of Legends House?
No, because Legends House was entertaining.
Well, I didn't. That's a blatant ripoff. I mean, a bad attempt at a.
No, I
Rip-off?
mean, it's a bad attempt like The Real World or one of those other stupid, maybe Big Brother. I think it's like a Big Brother ripoff. But I actually like Big Brother, which is kind of hard because they air on Wednesday night, so I have to record that and watch Dynamite live, or I have to record Dynamite and watch Big Brother live. It's
You got lots of important decisions to make.
I do,
on
because
Wednesday
Big Brother is
nights.
amazing. Well, I'm not the only one in the house, so I get outvoted sometimes what I'm going to watch. But this past week, they opened up with Willie Mack versus Eric Young. After they showed him brawling backstage, Eric Young picked up the win. Then next week starts Emergence. Whoop-de-doo. Then, of course, because we've already had one match, so what just has to be next?
Wrestle House.
Horrible reality show.
How do you have a reality show inside of a soap opera?
And how are they both consistently horrible every week? Then we actually get a second match within the first hour as Kimberly takes on Jordynne Grace. 2 matches in 1 hour on Impact. I felt like maybe it was an early birthday gift because you never see this. Jordynne Grace picked up the win. I'm a huge fan of Jordynne Grace. She's an amazing talent, and she will be wrestling for the Impact Knockout title during their Emergence. And then we have another segment of not Wrestle House. This time we have Locker Room Talk. Because, one horrible thing isn't enough for Impact. They need to jam as much horrible crap in as they can. And then they had RVD and Katie Forbes, his girlfriend. I don't know what they're doing with RVD. I don't think RVD even cares anymore at this point.
He's just collecting a check.
He's collecting a check at this point, and he gets to be with his girlfriend on air, I guess. Sami Callihan interrupts, and we kind of do more towards a Sami Callihan versus RVD feud. Sami Callihan, another Ohio guy. It's nice to see Ohio represented on TV. I remember Sammy back when he was a little over 300 pounds when he first started. He used to be a
Big boy.
Oh, yeah. He lost a lot of weight he lost it pretty fast, too. Not sure how that one happened. Then we go back, and guess what we get more of after this attempt at a talk show? We get more.
Does it rhyme? Does it rhyme with Besselbaus?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Wrestle House. And then they do some more stupid backyard wrestling on Wrestle House. Don't care about that. Then we got Jordynne Grace saying that she wants her match for the Impact Knockout title to be a 30-minute Iron Woman match.
An Iron Woman match.
Yeah, it's different from an Iron Man match as it's between women.
Oh, differentiate. Gotcha.
Got to differentiate. We had some more stuff about the North and Motor City Machine Guns, your new Impact Tag Team Champions. After that, it is Ohio representing again as Havoc and Nevaeh take on Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan. So definitely an interesting match with Tasha and Kiera picking up the victory. Havoc, I remember Havoc back when she first started. She's another Ohio girl, and we used to we've been on a lot of the same shows together. She's always been great, and it's nice to see her finally kind of get her break with Impact Wrestling. After that, Gallows and Anderson show up. They're kind of mad about what happened last week. We get arrested for the open containers. And then we see more hype for EC3. After that, we have Suicide versus Suicide.
And how did that end?
That ended in a no contest. But the real loser here was the fans. It ended... This whole show, that's who the losers were. It ended with Gallows and Anderson hitting the ring and attacking everyone, thus it being a no contest. And we got a flashback match between Cody and Eddie Edwards. That Eddie Edwards picked up the win. Backstage, we had Chris Bay, the current X Division champion. He is told that TJP is coming for him and for that title. So we got that to look forward to, apparently. We get another Brian Myers and, of course, Brian Myers, the former Kurt Hawkins in WWE. He's coming to Impact Wrestling, which is kind of nice. I've always been kind of a huge Brian Myers fan. And then we get some more Wrestle House.
Oh.
Why? Why are we doing Wrestle House? What is the purpose of Wrestle House?
Creative, just
There's nothing creative about it.
no. I'm saying creative doesn't have anything else that they want to do.
Obviously. Me sticking my finger in a light socket is more
We're gonna have
creative.
to go over like numbers and ratings and kind of look at that one day.
I don't even
and
think you can trace Impact's ratings because I mean they're on some channel that barely anyone gets access. No, barely anyone. I don't have it. If it wasn't for them streaming live on Twitch every week, you'd never see these shows. So I really don't think you can get an accurate number of Impact's ratings.
Yeah.
And even with Twitch, I mean, when I watch it on Twitch, I mean, there's maybe 1,000 people watching. I mean, for an
really?
Yeah. That's
Really?
it. That is it, which is not ever a good thing. And then after that, a little debacle of more Legends House, because that's what everyone wants to see.
Legends House.
The Wrestle House.
Okay, I got you all mixed up. I'm sorry.
You did. I
I had to bring up
would
the Legends
much
House.
rather be watching Legends House with Howard Finkel. Miss you, Fink. After that, Eddie Edwards has his open challenge for the Impact World title. And who accepts it? Well, why not Brian Myers? The former Kurt Hawkins from WWE accepted. This was actually a really good match. I'm a big fan, like I said, of Brian Myers. Brian Myers is unsuccessful, though, as Eddie Edwards hits his Boston knee party and picks up the win.
That's pretty clever.
It is. I like how they did that. Of course, he picks up the win and retains his Impact title.
Are they gonna run with him, or are they gonna because the whole losing streak thing was pretty fun for just a little bit, and then it just kept on going, and you felt bad for the guy.
It's Impact Wrestling where the lowest level WWE guy is a main eventer to them. So I'm sure they'll do something with Brian Myers. I
You
mean,
know-
look, they make Rhino a star every week.
Now, what happened with Damian Sandow? I know.
He's
I
in
probably wasn't
NWA
his-
right now. He actually went over
Oh.
to the NWA. Of course, NWA isn't, producing new episodes right now because of the pandemic. But yeah, that's what we got for Impact Wrestling. I will say they improved this week over the last 2 weeks. I think it was still an underwhelming show. But at least they focused more wrestling this week, which was my biggest complaint. Now, if they just completely got rid of the Wrestle House stuff, I would be even happier. But I guess I'll take what I can get right now. Also, last night, a show we haven't really covered in past weeks, but we'll start covering now. AEW Dark aired on YouTube. Ray Phoenix defeated Lee Johnson. Now, I'll tell you what I like about Dark. Dark is where you kind of get to see guys that aren't on regular TV get opportunities.
Well, that's good. I mean,
you
it's
can
like-
see kind of the future of AEW on these shows.
So it's like house show dark matches.
yeah,
basically.
pretty much.
But it's
called
on
AEW
a
Dark.
on a bigger stage because
Yes.
it's actually being
Broadcast on YouTube.
broadcasted and not somebody you had to be there type deal.
Right. After that, we had Sean Spears with Tully Blanchard defeat Alex Chamberlain. We had the Gun Club of Billy and Austin Gunn. They defeated Sean Dean and Mababu. I don't know who that is. Mababu? What kind of name is that? Then we had Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford as he defeated Michael Stevens, Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, and Mark Q. Quinn. They defeated Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison. I'm loving seeing Brian Pillman Jr. Big fan of his. I've done some shows with him in Indiana when he first started out, and it's nice to see him getting recognition. Then we had Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt as they defeated Aaron Solo, Corey Hollis, and Pineapple Pete.
That's
Everyone likes Pineapple Pete.
makes me want some Hawaiian
Pineapple?
pizza now.
You put pineapple on pizza?
Yes.
So we're looking for a new co-host of the Shooting Range. If you're available and want to be on the
Pineapple.
radio with
Pineapple and
me,
pizza.
and you don't like pineapple on
Hey.
pizza, then you can be my new co-host because now I have no co-host. It's like John Cena. He may be here, but I refuse to see him. Then we had the Natural Nightmares versus Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall. With Ali and Brandy Rhodes as they defeated the Hybrid 2, Angelico and Jack Evans from the Heaven. I used to do a podcast with Teddy Hart, who, a lot of people know. He, if anyone's ever listened to that podcast, he would go on occasional rambles that lasted 30 to 40 minutes. And you can guarantee at least 5 times within that ramble, he would say something about Jack Evans from the Heavens. It was an experience. I like Teddy. I miss Teddy. I miss doing that podcast. It was fun. Penelope Ford with Kip Sabian defeated Rachel Ellering, the daughter of Paul Ellering. And then we had the Butcher and the Blade as they defeated Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, SCU, SoCal Uncensored. Dark, I think Dark is a bright spot every week. They have some amazing talent on there that you don't get to see on the regular
So
shows.
this sounds like there's not necessarily up and comings because there are some people, some bigger names that you kind of listed.
I mean, they
but just
mix it
people
in.
they can't fit in,
That they don't really have anything going for them storyline-wise on the regular shows.
Yeah.
You can see them on Dark, which is nice. And like I said, you got people like, Brian Pillman Jr., Corey Hollis, people like that really haven't had a chance to show off what they can do in AEW. This is a perfect place for them to show it off. And it's always a good show every week. I honestly would say this show ranks above Impact, obviously. And there's some, WWE shows that I would rank this show above at times. So we got that. That was Dark from last night. It's released every Tuesday. Always good. Especially if you like seeing some of these newer guys that you may not know. Kind of seeing them before they actually make it onto TV. And then we also had Friday Night SmackDown last week. It was kind of an eventful show. Matt Riddle defeated Sheamus by DQ when Shorty G, Chad Gable, came out and attacked him. We had that little feud started. We see that The Fiend is there. It looks like Sheamus is turning face right now. Maybe again after just being a complete
I've
jerk
never
to
been
Jeff
able.
Hardy.
I've never been able to look at him in any type of way being face. I've always.
He works better as a heel. No
Yeah,
doubt.
for sure.
Then we had Cesaro versus Lince Dorado, with Cesaro picking up the win there. After the match, of course, his tag team partner and the co-holder of the tag, Mora, joined him in the ring to celebrate. Then we have, the Firefly Funhouse. We thought it was going to start, but it stopped abruptly, and then we had a warning for The Fiend. As the lights go out at the arena, The Fiend music starts up. We get all that. And then The Fiend heads to the ring. We got, more stuff in the ring with The Fiend. We have some stuff with Braun Strowman. Of course, last week, The Fiend attacked Alexa Bliss, setting up, there's that relationship between Alexa and Braun.
Another one of my favorite Ohio girls.
Alexa Bliss, yeah. Columbus. She's a Columbus girl. I thought you were talking about The Miz for a second because that's my favorite Ohio girl. And we had Jeff Hardy versus King Corbin. Jeff Hardy picked up the win by disqualification as Sheamus got involved. And he attacked Jeff Hardy, getting the DQ so that Corbin couldn't win. Then we had Sheamus versus King Corbin, with Sheamus picking up the victory from that. We had some promos between Big E. We had The Miz and Morrison versus Heavy Machinery. That ends up being a no contest. Just all the fighting going on. And then we had Retribution making their presence felt as they destroyed SmackDown. Like we mentioned earlier, they attacked the fans. They attacked the cameramen. They attacked pretty much everyone. They
Forced to be reckoned with.
did a lot of damage, brought out a chainsaw and carved up the ropes, which was kind of interesting. And a lot of bleeping going on. Apparently, they were saying some naughty words.
Ooh, naughty.
We cannot have that. This is not the Attitude Era. I think it was good. I would love to see what they're going to do with Retribution. I'm hoping they do something good. I'm hoping that we see kind of something, that actually is entertaining. Hopefully, they don't just ruin the whole the whole gimmick before it started, like they
I've
tend
never
to do.
done that.
Nexus.
Okay.
Okay. Should we keep going? Vince McMahon is the higher power.
It was me.
Yeah.
Okay, you made your point. All right.
Thank you. I tend to do that a lot. So yeah, that was SmackDown. NXT. We saw on NXT. I think something major. It looks like at NXT Takeover it's going to be Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. We saw McAfee give a nice punt.
Well, that's what
to
he
the
does
head
for
of
a
Adam
living.
Cole.
So
That is what he does for a living. This is interesting. I started out as a shoot. Looks like they're going to turn it into a work. Adam Cole and Pat McAfee. I don't know what Pat McAfee can do in the ring. I know Adam Cole's amazing. Maybe he'll be able to carry McAfee to a good match.
maybe. Pat McAfee, who did he play for? He's a former.
He's a punter.
Yeah.
I don't know where he played for. I don't cover. You're the sports guy.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why. I don't want to say it's just that's irrelevant. I guess when I was trying to make a point, it doesn't really make a difference. Generally, athletes, NFL athletes, they're in pretty good shape. I guess with punting, you don't have to be.
He played for the Indianapolis Colts. How do you not know this? I know this.
Okay, definitely don't have. Okay, we're gonna stop there. All right.
How do you not know that? I knew that.
Yeah.
I don't even watch
You mean-
football,
you
and I
mean
knew that.
Google knew that.
No, Wikipedia, sir.
Well, Google led you to Wiki.
No, I have the Wikipedia app on my phone. Thank you very much.
Oh, they didn't even know that they had an app. That's pretty sweet. How did I
Yeah.
not know that?
I don't know.
You can tell me, how did you not know that Wikipedia had an app? Then you could be a little more accurate.
Well, you like
the phone
pineapple
app.
on pizza, so it don't really matter.
Pineapple on
Yeah,
pizza
we're
is
back to that
delicious.
now.
No, pineapple.
No, it isn't.
Okay. Whatever. You should open your mind to more delicious things.
I do. I like pickles on pizza.
Okay. See, that sounds.
It's amazing.
If they're bread and butter, I
Oh,
could.
bread and butter going.
If they're bread and butter, then I could probably. I've never had it, but I could see where you're coming from.
And you're listening to the Cooking Range with, with Jay Miller and Alan Henney.
All right.
But no, I mean it's gonna be interesting. I was nice that they had Triple H and Shawn Michaels out there after the altercation, yelling at Pat McAfee, telling him to leave. They're setting this up really nice. We would play the audio from when Adam Cole was on Pat McAfee's show and what started all this, but we don't want to be kicked off the air, so we will not be playing that audio. But it was a very intense words exchange between the two that kind of led to all this, and everyone's debating if it's a shoot or if it's a work or whatever it started out at. It's ended up in a match.
Well, it
So we
should
got
be
that.
very, very interesting to see. I always like when there's that crossover from other,
I mean, you had Lawrence Taylor back in the 90s. You had William Perry back in the 80s. Steve McMichaels, Kevin Green. So
let's not talk about we're going back into WCW.
Oh, we're going back.
We got.
Reggie White wrestled Steve McMichaels.
What about Rodman? What about
The Worm,
what
the
about-
Mailman.
Yeah, the mailman.
Well, Dennis Rodman wouldn't even show up for practice because he wanted to go hang out with Hulk Hogan and WCW.
Yeah, that still is mind blowing, but it all worked out. They won. Whatever.
Andy wanted to add Bash at the Beach with Hogan as his partner, so it all kind of worked out for
It
him.
did. Oh, good thing he skipped
So
practice from a NBA Finals. That's the best
Hey.
part. That's the best part of the story.
look, what's more important, NBA Finals or hanging out with?
I mean, they were going every year, so it wasn't like.
If you miss it this year, you always just go back next
Yeah.
year. You only get one chance to team up with Hulk Hogan. Well, he's had a couple of chances, but that's besides the point. So yeah, I mean, you've seen some successful, some not successful. Mongo, Steve McMichaels was horrible in the ring, but he had a pretty a decent amount of time as a wrestler in WCW. Kevin Green wasn't that bad. Lawrence Taylor did pretty good.
He just had was it a Rumble match, right?
A
LT?
WrestleMania match. Him and Bam Bam Bigelow at WrestleMania 11. I'm
Didn't
glad you know all this stuff.
Well, you know what? Why do I feel like he was in some kind of Royal Rumble?
That's where the feud started off. He was in the crowd at the Royal Rumble, and he was laughing at Bigelow, and that started the whole road to WrestleMania for those
Okay,
two.
well, so I'm not that out of time.
Maybe if you focus more on wrestling and less on pineapples on pizza, you would know this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, well,
I'm just saying.
all right. Well, I'll just load up the network here.
Yeah, you do that. Don't forget, next Sunday is SummerSlam. If you go to our YouTube page, we're actually going to do a very special pre-show for SummerSlam that's going to air next Sunday on the Shooting Range YouTube page. If you're watching live on YouTube, you already know. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. You'll know when we have our SummerSlam YouTube pre-show special up and running next Sunday, right before the pay-per-view. Also,
Hey, what's the dress code for that, by the way?
I plan on putting on a pair of Speedos and a singlet, and that's ready to wrestle.
Okay.
Maybe not.
You're
Maybe suit and tie. Maybe
Body-
just man. I don't
Body
know.
slam me through the table?
Yeah, let's not do that. Never mind.
All right.
I've stopped taking body slam. No bumps.
No
Remember,
bumps.
No bumps.
No, I didn't say you body slam me. I got to take
Yeah, because
I got to
I
take my first official bump.
yeah, because my back can handle picking you up.
Oh, shots
I've seen the shot.
fired.
I've seen the support on your truck out there. I don't think I can handle what it handles. But we're also going to crown our first ever Shooting Range champion, as we are going to give our predictions on the results of the matches for SummerSlam And the person with the most right result or right answers, right guesses, I guess, or predictions, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be the first ever shooting range champion. He's going to have to defend it at every pay-per-view. So I look forward to having that title. I've won a lot of titles in my life. This one's going to mean the most. So we got all that coming for you on our YouTube page. Like, subscribe, and share a cold one with the boys. We're going to a commercial break. When we come back, we're talking AEW Dynamite. We're going to talk what happened last week, and we're going to talk what you can expect tonight from All Elite Wrestling.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million.
I was trying to think of the word shocks, and I couldn't think of the word. So I was like, whatever.
Support. I know
The
what you
support
said.
on your car.
I know what you meant.
I don't know sports, and I don't know cars. I know wrestling.
Okay, time for the.
Listening to the cooking range.
Hey, I like this. We jump a little bit off topic, but it's entertaining.
Right. That's all that matters.
My favorite. I feel like running this.
Just for 5 minutes straight. Don't forget the VXS commercial.
So that's
When we come back.
running us in.
Yeah.
How long? That's a 28, 23.
It's like that is not long.
That's why Smokey's famous.
That's why Smokey's famous and you're not. It's just weird hearing Joe.
I know.
Dude, I do want to take my glasses off to look at my I have one more person post asking about the 300 on their screen.
My youngest, Joe, loves sports, music, and his youth group. One day, Joe asked me to drive him.
Al Roker. Oh, we're gonna run the Jeff Foxworth. No, we're gonna Stephen Colbert.
Do we have an Al Roker one?
Apparently,
And hit us.
Al Roker Radio. Let's run it.
The National Safety Council estimates 1 in 4 car crashes involves a cell
You want to
phone.
lose weight?
Hands-free is no safety. Visit nsc.org/calls.
Hi, everyone. Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate it after
Has his own catchphrase?
Well, we could run a Spanish. You want to run a Spanish commercial?
But I'm filling in because
No.
there's
Okay.
like when it's dry or windy.
Ooh, Meals on Wheels.
Hey, when I get it a paraplegic, that's what we call sex.
To learn more about wildfire prevention. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola.
Ooh,
And I'm gonna be honest.
not too bad.
It's very independent. I film and I have to.
340 people?
Yeah. The mic is still on. Hot mic, hot mic. Oh my god. I just offended the entire paraplegic community.
You did. You did.
Oh, look, he posted a promo.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000.
Ooh, Love Fest. Hunter, I want to do Love Fest. What's Love Fest?
I don't know what's going on now.
But the cool thing is, so I put some software on my friend's computer and I got a free trial
Mm-hmm.
and I forgot to cancel it and then it charged me.
Oh, nice.
So immediately,
Apple Music just did that to me.
well, I like Apple Music, but
Might you be buzzed when you suddenly love everything?
I requested a refund and they gave it to me.
Oh, nice.
It was like within minutes of, you know what I mean? Within, they're charging me. I was like, I didn't want this.
I didn't want this.
What's your name?
Okay, Karen.
I love a ride.
Take these charges off my card. I don't want this. I speak to your manager.
Next time you go home, buzz driving is drunk driving.
Bus driving is drunk driving.
I love your car. Is this real love?
You might know me, I'm 50 Cent. You may follow my tweets, my Facebook friends. Odds are a few in the 6 degrees separated, so that close. What's crazy is 1 in 6 don't know where the next meal is coming from. These are your co-workers.
Okay, so we're gonna run VXS now because it's close enough.
Feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank to
Close
see how you
enough.
can make a difference. From one close friend to another, let's do this.
I'm running it.
Together we are from the
Message from Feeding America.
No justice, no peace. Live on Fight, Sunday Sunday, August 16th. Extreme proceeds go towards the Equal Justice.
No, it wasn't my fault. The computer, you saw it lag out. You saw it lag out. Don't you dare. You're gonna pop that back on?
I never turned it off.
Oh, it's still hot.
Yeah, still hot, Mike. And welcome back to the shooting range. I am your host, Old School Thriller Jay Miller. And with me, as always, is technical difficulties, Alan Henney.
I like pineapple on pizza. Alan.
And you like giving us dead air between commercials. We understand.
You're not very nice.
It's called the shooting range for a reason. We shoot. So we're going to talk about this past week on All Elite Wrestling Dynamite on TNT. The show opened with an awesome 12-man tag matches. Adam Page, Kenny Omega, FTR, and the Young Bucks took on the Dark Order, Mr. Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, 5 and 9. You know your career's going somewhere where your name's 5 or your name's 9. You just got a number. During the match, towards the end, we saw Dax Hardwood go out with a knee injury, and him and his partner did not return to the match. And Dark Order actually picked up the victory, which surprised me because it seems like the fans just are not getting behind the Dark Order storyline. It seems like the fans just really don't care about the Dark Order. As much as AEW has been trying to push them as a threat, as a credible contender, people just are not buying it. And I think the Dark Order has kind of fallen flat, but AEW is still trying, bless their hearts. But that was, a good match. As always, FTR is involved in it. What else can it be? Then we see the Best Friends arrive into the arena in his mom Sue's pickup van or minivan. The soccer mom van. Of course, we have Jon Moxley in our main event. He'll be defending the title against Darby Allin. We get a nice promo from Moxley. Moxley can cut some great promos. I love anytime Moxley is on. You're always going to be entertained with Moxley, another Ohio guy. Then we have our second match is the Best Friends, Trent and Chuck Taylor take on Ortiz and Santana, part of the Inner Circle. The Best Friends pick up the win in that match. Then we get a promo from MJF. Maybe my favorite thing on Dynamite behind FTR is MJF. We get a new, MJF is running for AEW champion. MJF 2020 to be AEW champion. More just promo gold from him. So we got that. We had Matt Hardy, who came out to cut a promo. Now, this segment was an interesting segment. Matt Hardy cut a promo on Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara ended up doing trying to sneak on in. Matt Hardy knew he was coming, though. They brawled a little bit. Sammy threw a chair, not a folding chair like, you would usually see in wrestling, but an actual, like a chair we have in our studio.
Oh, that was
Caught Matt right in the face. I mean, Matt had a huge gash. A lot of blood loss from Matt. I don't think it was planned.
I don't think it was either.
That was definitely an accident.
I think he's pretty mad.
He was busted open the hard way, as we say. And then a lot of blood. Matt had to get staples put in.
13 stitches.
13. Was it stitches or staples? It may have been staples.
You might have been. I know
Either
it was
way,
13
it was nasty.
ST. Maybe I did
nasty.
mess the last few letters of that
ST.
headline up.
STI or STA, either one. It was one of those. As long as it wasn't an STD, we're good for Matt Hardy. So, yeah, man, it's just ugly setup, this feud going on a little longer. After that, we saw Santana and Ortiz, not Santina Morella's sister Santina, the former Miss WrestleMania, but Santana and Ortiz destroy Trent's mom's minivan. Oh, you can't. Sue is a respectable woman. How dare you defile her minivan?
Do you think that's covered under her insurance?
Is Santana and Ortiz coverage something you can get?
I don't know. You know
What
what?
would that be under?
I'm gonna call Jake. I'm gonna call Jake.
Call Jake from State Farm. Let us know what he says. After that, we get Cody and Matt Cardona, the former Zack Ryder, with Arn Anderson in their corner as they take on two more members of the Dark Order because there's like 750 of them. As they take on Alex Reynolds and John Silver, Matt Cardona and Cody pick up the win. After that, we kind of seen Scorpio Sky come out and pretty much say that he wants to challenge for that TNT title this coming week. Chuck Taylor and Trent go out and they find what happened to his mom's van, to Sue's van. I'm not going to call him his mom. That is Sue, and she has a name, and she matters. So pretty much sets up for another Santana Ortiz match. I'm assuming that's going to happen in All Out. And Trent says once they beat him, they will personally apologize to Sue for defiling her minivan. How is she going to get? How are the boys going to get to the show now when Sue doesn't have a minivan anymore?
I guess an Uber.
Are they going to Uber?
That could be.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now they just got to spend more money. How big do they think their AEW contracts are where they can just pay more money?
I don't know. Gas prices are pretty cheap though, so you're right. It probably costs a little more to Uber.
We'll have to see, I guess, if they show up or not. Back from the commercial, and we have maybe I should have got the audio from this to play on the show. I kind of forgot about getting that audio. We had a debate between Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. And who was the moderator for this debate? Someone that we have not seen on TNT Network in over 12 years, Mr. Eric Bischoff. He was a debate moderator between Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. And boy, was it interesting. The questions that Eric asked, Orange Cassidy didn't really feel like talking until, of course, Eric Bischoff asked about global warming. And at that point, Orange Cassidy had a lot to say. Of course, ended with Orange Cassidy won the debate, according to Eric Bischoff. And then Jericho attacked Orange Cassidy. Leading to next week, or this coming week, tonight, it's going to be Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. If Orange Cassidy loses, he has to pay $7,000 to replace the sports jacket. Did I tell a joke? Because I just heard cymbals in the background. Because Chris Jericho, to replace Chris Jericho's sports coat that he ruined by dumping orange juice on the inner circle. So there's a lot right on that. Does Orange Cassidy have $7,000 if he loses?
You might want to hit up Moxley because doesn't Moxley still owe?
I think Moxley owes Jericho for ruining his coat in WWE. This man, Jericho should just stop wearing coats.
Yes.
Because it's not really working out for him. So we had that. The best friends, of course, run out, save Jericho, or get Jericho away from Orange Cassidy and make the save there. Then we have Big Swole versus Reba. Of course, Big Swole picked up the win in her ongoing feud with Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, DDS. Or she's not a DDS, she's a DMD. Whatever that is. Something to do with dentistry. We can find out the next week is the FTR Tag Team Appreciation Week. We're going to have the Rock and Roll Express there, as well as Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, obviously two former members of the Four Horsemen and the former Brain Busters. Great tag team. They're going to be there. Chris Jericho will go one-on-one with Orange Cassidy. Of course, this is tonight. Adam Page and Kenny Omega are going to take on Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus Evil Uno and Stu Grayson will take on the Young Bucks. So this is the night I've been waiting for. FTR is hosting. It's going to be the Tag Team Appreciation Night. And if anyone appreciates a good tag team, it's me. Then we had our main event as Jon Moxley took on Darby Allin. And this, I would say, was the match of the night. Darby Allin has so much talent. I think he has a very bright future for him in professional wrestling. It was a great match. Jon Moxley obviously picked up the win to retain his AEW title, but he definitely gave, big props to Darby Allin after that match. And it's going to be nice to see, where Darby Allin goes in the future, as well as Jon Moxley. And this kind of, played into the feud between Brian Cage and Jon Moxley. I have a feeling that All Out it's going to be Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage again for that AEW title. So that's going to be interesting to see. And then we got, tonight's AEW, another night. We got, like I said, the tag team match that I'm interested in, or the tag team night, appreciation night. It's going to be a great night of action. I can't wait to see what all they have going on tonight. What FTR does. They're hosting the show. Do we see Arn and Tully are going to be there. Do we see the formation of the Horsemen tonight? They've been hinting at it. Do we see it tonight?
You've been talking about this for a couple weeks.
Because I'm ready for it. I'm excited for it.
And now is the best time. Better now than never.
Hey, perfect time. And I think, last week we had Dax go out with an injury during his match. That could cause some tension. And it could cause give the Horsemen a reason to get. Can you imagine Cody turning on all his friends and reforming the Horsemen with FTR tonight? It'd be amazing.
We shall see.
Now, what we're going to talk about now, we're going to talk about a great show that's actually coming up this weekend. We have VXS. If you're in the New Jersey area, you want to check them out on their Facebook page at VXS Wrestling. It's at a secret location because, we're still in a pandemic right now. So you can't really be advertising where these things are happening at. It's going to be in a secret location in New Jersey. But if you don't want to travel to New Jersey, if you're not going to be in the New Jersey, South Philadelphia, South Pennsylvania area, you can watch it from the safety and comfort of your own home on the Fight Network or Fight.com, Fight TV, the Fight TV app. That's FITE.
Not FIGHT.
No, not that. It's FITE, Fight. All you got to do is look up VXS, No Justice, No Peace. And just listen to this card that they have lined up.
All right.
We got Davey Boy Smith Jr., the son of, obviously, the British Bulldog.
Yes.
As he'll be taking on Tony Deppen. Tony, if you watch any GCW, Tony Deppen is definitely one of the standout guys. And it's going to be interesting to see that match. I'm a big fan of Davey Boy Jr., so that'll be interesting. We have Eli Everfly taking on Alex Zane and Facade in a three-way match. Facade's kind of local to this area. He's from kind of the Pittsburgh area.
Okay.
So he's really close. He's done a lot of work in Ohio. He's always been entertaining. We have AR Fox taking on Jimmy Lloyd. Jimmy Lloyd's another one that's kind of been making a name for himself in the indie wrestling area, and getting a lot of attention on that. We got Myron Reed taking on Jordan Oliver. We got Homicide. That's the name a lot of people know from Impact TNA Wrestling. Homicide will be taking on Calvin Tankman. We have, of course, other people, Blake Christian, Nolo Katana. They're all going to be there. But the main event is one I'm looking forward to. We also got Alex Ocean taking on Jeff King. That's going to be another great match. But the match that I'm looking forward to, that I think is going to be a great match, is actually the main event for this show. And it's actually the first time that he will be wrestling since Shad Gaspar passed away, sadly. And that is JTG, the former partner in crime time with Shad
Oh,
Gaspar.
wow.
This is his first match
Since Shad.
Shad
Oh.
passed away.
So it's kind of in his honor.
Yeah, I would say
like
so.
a tribute match.
And I'd like anyone that that knew Shad or ever worked with Shad or even been in the same room as Shad, just knows how of an amazing person that Shad was, and the bond that Shad just created with everyone he came in contact with. So it's really awesome, that JTG is kind of doing this in honor of his former tag team partner. It's really cool that they stayed close all these years after leaving WWE. So it's going to be a great match.
I don't recall. Did you tell everybody who he was facing?
Yeah, no, he will be facing Brian Cage from AEW.
Oh.
Obviously, we're just talking about that, the current FTW champion in AEW, thanks to Taz. So it's going to be Brian Cage versus JTG, and JTG's first. I mean, this has got to be kind of an emotional night for JTG.
Yes.
We all know Shad died a hero. He saved his son in spite of his own life. And a lot of people, were hit hard by Shad dying. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are still going out to his family. But it's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of tribute maybe JTG will play to Shad. And like I said, if you can't be there live or, if you want to watch it from the safety of your own home, you can do that on the Fight app, FITE. You can watch it live on there. It's actually at a really reasonable price for the amount of entertainment you're going to get. I look forward to. I'll be watching it. Obviously, maybe we'll talk about it a little bit next week. It's going to be in the South Jersey, Philadelphia area this Sunday at a top secret location. It's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be a great show. I can't wait to see JTG. Like I said, I've always been a big fan of Crime Time. And obviously the way Shad, left way too soon. But the way he left a hero, he saved his son's life.
Yeah, that made like
despite
national
his-
headlines.
Oh yeah, it was a big deal. And I mean, and I'll anyone that's met Shad knew that he was a real good guy. Everyone knew he was a stand-up guy, a great person. And then the world got to see that as well. Sadly, it took him passing away for the world to see it. But the world definitely got a chance to see it when, the news broke that he told him, no, save my son. Don't worry about me. Save my son. So that was, big ups to Shad for that. Shad Gaspar, of course, sad situation.
Yeah, how long's that been now? That was what, sometime
Oh.
in March, April? Or maybe it was later than that. This
I want to say
past 6 months.
I
have
want to
just
say it
been a
was
big blur.
June, because it was right when things started opening back up. Because they were at the beach, and the beaches had been closed for a long time. So it was right when things started opening back up. So I want to say it happened in June, but let me double check that. with
May.
Was it May?
May 17th is the.
Wow, it was May.
Yeah. Like I said, these past 6 months or so have been a blur.
Oh yeah.
But so it's hard to. I know it was relatively recent, but I didn't realize you're right. No,
he was only 39 years old.
Was he working somewhere? Was he doing?
He's doing indie shows. Him and JTG were doing, shows together as Crime Time still. And actually, once the Coast Guard called off their search, JTG, John Morrison, and Chris Masters actually put together their own search team to try to find Shad. And sadly, he was found not how we had hoped. They found his body, and sadly, Shad passed away. But great guy, and it's awesome that JTG is around to carry on the name of Crime Time and to carry on the legacy of Crime Time. So happy to see that. But yeah, check out VXS Wrestling, No Justice, No Peace, this Sunday on the Fight app, the Fight TV app. That's FITE. You can also check them out on Facebook. VXS Wrestling. They got a YouTube page. They got a Facebook. I believe they have a Twitter. Check them out on all their social media. Stay up to date. They do a lot of great work out there. Bringing some of the top talent all across the world. If you want to get into indie wrestling, if you want to learn about indie wrestling and kind of see who's making a name for themselves outside of the big two companies of AEW and WWE.
The big two, I like how you don't consider. It's
Impact?
okay.
No,
Yeah.
I don't consider Impact the big anything. But yeah, if you want to find out who the next kind of breakout stars are going to be, watch indie wrestling. Whether it be on Fight TV, whether it be at your local shows once those can safely run again. Always, check out the indie wrestling scene, kind of see who, so that way, how good it is to see someone come up on TV and be like, I saw them live back when they were first starting. It kind of makes you feel like you're a part of their journey
Yeah.
just by being in the crowd, when they just start out, and then you see them on WWE TV, which I get that a lot. I mean, there's a lot of guys, Sami Callihan, Jon Moxley, people like that I worked with in wrestling before they made it to WWE. So it was always cool seeing them pop up on TV like, I was with that guy when he first started. I wrestled that guy back in, 1952, back when he was still a youngin' in the business.
Wow.
Sami Callihan. Okay, this is a funny. How much time do we got? Sami Callihan. We used to do weekly shows together on Tuesday nights. There's a live wrestling show every Tuesday night in Barberton, Ohio, and Sammy would come down there, and Jon Moxley. They would come down there and be part of the show, or they would work the shows. And we actually all crammed, there's 8 of us crammed into a little compact car together. Of course, I'm in the back seat, so I'm squished.
8? You said
There's
you.
probably 6 of us, I think.
Well, still, yeah, that's a lot of people. to be
Oh, yeah,
crammed
and I
in
was
one car.
smushed in the back seat between 2 guys that were 200 and some pounds plus on the way to McDonald's. And that's kind of, I think, the first time I ever met Jon Moxley or Dean Ambrose, whatever you want to call him. That's my first time meeting him, and that was an interesting story. I don't know if he remembers me, but if he does, throw me some AEW tickets.
Well, once.
Yeah. I got some free tickets.
Was that his super indies, or was he CZW or?
That was before he really made a name for himself. That's kind of when he was just starting out. So it's because I never. When you meet these guys, you're like, okay, he's super talented, but you never you just can't envision that one day they're going to be a major star. It's especially when they're real down to earth and they're real cool people. It's hard to imagine them anything other than this guy at the local indie show. So it's pretty cool when they do make it, and you never really see it coming, even if they have the talent, just because you can't picture someone like that, someone so down to earth and cool. Now Sammy, on the other hand, but John was cool. John never had an ego to him. John was never hard to do business with, and those are the kind of people you just kind of I can't really picture him as a star because he's so down to earth, and he turned out to be a huge star. But we are going to have to wrap up. Don't forget, check out VXS Wrestling, No Justice, No Peace, this Sunday on the Fight app. Look up, of course, like I said, VXS Wrestling to find out how to go about ordering that. Don't forget, you can also go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Jay Miller. Get you a Jay Miller t-shirt. I'm going to have some shooting range t-shirts going up there soon. Maybe I'll get me some Alan Henny t-shirts going up there. All Elite Alan Henny, kind of come up with some kind of design for you. Get you a t-shirt up there. And then, like I said, follow us on YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe, share our stream. We're going to be doing a special SummerSlam pre-show next Sunday. We'll have that up on YouTube, so follow that so you don't miss any of that. And then we will be back here next Wednesday, of course, same time, 2:00 p.m. Eastern, right here on All Sports Cleveland, on YouTube, on Facebook. Is there anything you want to say before we go, Alan?
No.
Surprising. Well, folks, we will see you guys here next week, 2:00, allsportscleveland.com. Thank you for listening. What is going on with this thing? Stay in there. Just put it down like that. All right, Facebook, YouTube, thank you guys for watching and listening to the show today. We appreciate it, and we will see you guys as well next Tuesday, 2:00, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, however you're watching live. Put your mask on.